Have you ever prayed during sex?
Can't say I have.
I want to be honest. Yeah.
I
But it's
cannot
not,
say I have.
I don't think
You
it's an
know, it's
appropriate
like
prayer though.
God has given us this ability to have the ultimate pleasure in life, right? And I'm not saying it's during, maybe, I don't know.
Like, prayed for good
Yeah.
intimacy, good relationship, but not necessarily
Yes,
during, no.
yes. And then after, just a thankfulness. Like this, I hope it pleased the Lord too. I don't know, does that sound weird?
Slightly,
Of course it does.
but
I'm very
no,
weird.
but I get it.
I'm
Yeah,
a
yeah.
weird human.
We started on our knees, had no the light. Then we found our way to church. God got our knees and said right. You pulled us out the dirt. Now we're walking in our purpose, not just shopping in vain. We called in our Holy Father, staying away from the lies, 'cause you taught us how to abide. We love the way you do it. Yeah, you did it, and you did it. When the road got rough, you pulled us through it. You always do it. Yeah, you did it. Yeah, we love the way you do it. Yeah. Walk a little different by avenue. Let's get into it.
Welcome back to Different by Avenue. I'm Dee, and I'm here with Bree, and we're joined with our friend Rachel.
So we covered love and roles, but today we're getting into the physical side of marriage. Before we dive into the spicy talk, let's pray. Lord, thank you for creating intimacy and for the gift of pleasure within marriage. We ask that you help us speak with wisdom and honesty today. Let this conversation help couples reconnect and strengthen their bonds. Amen.
Amen. So Rachel is that friend who really isn't afraid to say what everyone else is thinking, and she's here to help us navigate the conversation about sex and marriage without the crunchy awkwardness. So, okay, we'll jump into the first question. Rachel, what do you think is the biggest misconception about sex and marriage?
I just feel like everyone's different, right? And for some reason, there's like a comparison of I'm not doing enough, or, we're just like comparing ourselves to other people, which, it doesn't make sense to me. It's very an intimate thing. And we have this like expectation to meet some standards that aren't like built by us and our marriage. Every marriage is different, right? Every couple's different. Some people have more drive than other people, and it's like that's not fair to you if it's not where you're at. Or you may have had a trauma growing up, and so it's a triggering thing, Sometimes you don't even remember your trauma, and you're like, I have some sort of trigger, and you don't remember where it's from because we're trying to survive, right? And so I just feel like in the beginning, just to take that out, God designed me one way, but life took me another way. And so I try and give myself grace. And I just wish that for my girlfriends. I feel like sex is amazing. It's awesome. It can be so fun and healing, and it can be so beautiful. And it's not just a technical thing to get done. Like it's very much my own. It's for me. And things that I've heard from my girlfriends, because I don't mind talking about it. And you're right. It's not been a problem for me. I've just always been super open for some reason. And I just felt like, I don't know, it seemed harder for other people than it did for me. And so I was like always trying to encourage people. Like I would throw passion parties for specifically the ladies of the church, because I just felt like they weren't having good sex. And, it was at a time where the internet wasn't full of knowledge. Like, you can learn so much now. I think the younger generations have it way better because they're able to find out how to take care of ourselves. There's just like new studies coming out for women all the time now. And back then I just was like, you're scared to go to a store to go buy something. You feel like you're going to be going straight to hell and God's watching you. I mean, just like a lot of those things we put on ourselves. And there's things out there that can really help to have great sex. And so, yeah, any questions about that?
Time out. So, Rachel, I feel like we chose you because you have been one of the friends that I've known that have been married for a very, very long time. So this whole like month segments is about love and marriage. So we're getting into nitty gritty. But I would love for you to tell your love story, how you and your husband met.
Okay, well, we met as children, pretty much became friends, 7 and 8 years old. And our church was really small, and his family had other kids, and we barely had like 3 other families with children. So Lewis became really good friends with my brother. Then, of course, you hit a certain age and you change, your mentality changes. And, we were like on off boyfriend, girlfriend. It sounds crazy because we got married at 18. Like, I was planning my wedding my senior year of high school. So, okay, that was like 1993, right? So, lots changed now. Do I recommend that? No, I don't recommend it now. But at the time, I could see why old me, 19, 18-year-old me she was ready. I felt like I'd already lived a couple lifetimes because I had already been through so much. And I knew I would be a great wife, and I knew he would be a great husband. And God has shown up for us beautifully over the last 32 years now. Now is actually the most beautiful time of our marriage. And we're in our 50s. And to be able to look back and see how God has just held us. He's kept us together. Satan hates us. I'll say it right now. He hates us. We see his attacks all the time. But God has given us tools on how to heal, and God has healed us. And God has healed childhood trauma from my past. And then I just could speak for myself on that. And just seeing that it's not just a relationship with me and my husband, it's also with our God. And that comes into play too with sex. Have you ever prayed during sex?
Can't say I have.
I want to be honest. Yeah, yeah.
I
But it's
cannot say
not,
I have.
I don't think it's an
It's
appropriate
like,
prayer though.
I don't know. It's just very, God has given us this ability to have the ultimate pleasure in life, right?
Like, prayed for good
Yeah.
intimacy, good relationship, but not necessarily
Yes.
during, no.
Yes. And then after, just a thankfulness. Like, this, I hope it pleased the Lord too. I don't know. Does that sound weird?
Slightly,
Of course it does.
but
I'm
but
very
no, but
weird.
I get it.
I am
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
weird human.
God being the center of your relationship makes sense to most people, but what does that actually entail is the catch, you know? So you talk about, I mean, intimacy is a huge part of your relationship, but you don't think about God being in the middle of that, and you don't, that
Yeah.
the idea makes sense until you start breaking it down and going, "Oh no, didn't think about asking God for that one. That was not something that was on my like prayer list for today." I wanted to kind of go back even to ask how having been married for so long and having learned the lessons, like I need to be praying this, knowing that it probably wasn't how that started. It wasn't your relationship with God and intimacy and in your marriage was probably not always that close. What was your progression or how did you get here so that we can learn faster from you being only married a little over 5 years? I still got a long ways to go and never would have thought about that. So I'll take that tip early. Is there what am I missing? What do we need to learn fast so that we can have that relationship stronger?
Yeah. Yeah. I just want to like curb it a little bit to the thought of, growing up in the church, purity culture really being pushed on us and making us feel shameful for our bodies, for the way we dress, for our shoulders showing, for our bellies, and also the blame that was put on women for being beautiful the way God made us. And I'm just learning to appreciate my body. And now you're telling me it's too much. And, that's on you. That's not on me. I feel like I've witnessed a lot of couples be in the purity culture so strong that once they were married, there was a false expectation set on women. There's just no education on it. There's no help. And there's guilt just put on us because all of a sudden I'm supposed to open up and I'm supposed to be free in my body and free to be naked in front of you and free to be beautiful and free to be the goddess that you deserve. But then I have all these churchy talks. It's not from God. It's church talk. And I had girlfriends getting married my age too. And really, they were complaining about It's just wasn't what they were hoping for, what they were wanting. And so how do we do better for ourselves? How do we know our bodies better? And how do we rest in our femininity and be proud of it and not be
Mhm.
ashamed to have the lights on during sex? You know, that type of stuff.
That's truly a word for me. Like, intimacy is about safety. When we were going through
Yes.
our boot camp stage of life, I was so drained and just learned to receive love even when I felt like I had nothing left to give. It was definitely a time of learning and growing quick.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, the main question, I didn't necessarily grow up. Yes, I grew up in the church culture, but maybe not as strict. I went to Bible study and CCD and you're taught what you're supposed to do. The same struggles on my husband's side. This is what you're not supposed to do, and the shame that comes with even on the male side of things. And we talk of internet, and you have to deal with pornography and all of the images and the hey, these are the things that are really, really going to be a lot of fun, but is that for you? Is that what you're supposed to be doing? Is so going into marriage, how do you then figure each other out and then continue to keep it fresh? I just had a baby, so that smacked me upside the head between hormones, being literally bone deep tired. I can talk on our date night, like how we keep our relationship fresh, because our date nights are really what our relationship was built on. So I can talk on that later. But it flipped 180 degrees from this is my person to I don't want to be touched anymore because I'm touched out after having a baby all day.
Yeah.
Like, how do you
That's
keep
real.
fresh
Yeah.
and how do you keep that spark alive?
Keep it fresh. Variety, I don't know. Depends on how much money's in the account and how good I'm feeling. We do, we're very involved in other people's lives and stuff. So it does take, we have to be like, wait, hello, I miss you, that type of stuff. And we've really learned to be like, we're too busy. Like, I'm too tired when I'm with you. So, like, we've learned how to set boundaries and to set boundaries with like our outside world and know like, okay, we need to get into like our space. Like, we used to have a set bedtime for our kids. I needed that time without
Mhm.
children on me.
Yeah.
So we always had that. We had our coffee time together. It was like our date, and our kids would be running around us, and they knew unless you're bleeding or something really bad's happened, mom and dad need their time. And it would go from like 15 minutes to half an hour, probably 45 minutes sometimes, because we're just trying to connect. There's no one answer. It's like you just keep trying and you keep showing up, and if you feel really far from each other, one of you is going to have to say it, even though it might bring up a deeper conversation. But the longer I have found that I wait and avoid, then I don't even like myself. I feel, because I hold it in, it kind of hurts my gut, and you're my best friend. You're my love. Like, I want to be enjoying life with you, and I don't want to be a roommate. I could get one of those anytime. I actually love building a home with you and this family, and now we are a grandparent. I'm seeing him in a new love again. He's holding my granddaughter, and we're still together, and we get to just like celebrate that. And it's the coolest. And even that, like last month, it was baby season, right? We're doing stuff. We're tired. We're helping, and even though it's all joy and it's all good things, Lewis was like, "Hey, we need to go on a date. You just have to talk. The more you don't talk, then it's more awkward when you are talking, and then the space becomes longer and longer. So if you, especially like, let's talk about sex for a minute. Like, if you didn't like something, don't tell them in that unless you're being hurt. Okay, obviously, but it's just a very delicate thing. Like, I need some things to happen before this is going to happen, but it's taken us 30 something years for him to know what I need. So I feel safe. I feel comfortable. I feel like my body's not going to reject me later. We have to deal with UTIs. We have to deal with, all the things needing to be a perfect chemistry for our bodies. We are the most magical things that God have made, in my opinion, but he's given us a lot of rules.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that we have to deal with so that everything can be a balance, right? The more we don't talk, it gets weird. So if I liked a move or if I liked something, now I've learned like I'm gonna tell you tomorrow or later today when we have our coffee date, because we still do that, and it's like
Awesome.
this gives us a chance to remember what we did, you know, and then kiki about it and then see what happens next time, you know? And it's just like we have our own love story continually happening. This is just like, you know, it could be done and you move on, but it's been really fun to replay, talk about it because now he's like, oh, she likes that. And I know what he likes. And you how are we gonna know if we're not telling each other?
Okay. Did you try the?
Huh?
Hey, what?
Oh man. Okay, wait. Pause. Did you need to call that person back, D?
I already got it.
Okay. Okay.
Don't transition out. What?
No. So
She's
like on a long car ride, we were talking about, just little different things. And so like I was creeping them out a lot, D. And so I was telling them like I love the like how like Bo will do his thing, like I'm all in it, and then he's just like bam, and he'll get in there and then he'll go back and I'm like, yes. So that's what
So if anyone needed tips, there you go.
that might be on the editor's floor at the
yeah,
end of
no,
the
Yeah,
day.
no,
yeah.
please.
Oh man. But I love that. Okay. And then
I mean,
so the
the fact that you're having the conversations is what it comes back to. Like
Mhm.
hey, however you want to say it, as long as you're having the conversation. Because like I, we joked that how much I schedule stuff, and like you would think that would also be on my schedule, but no, I was like date nights for me. I'm gonna also plug like love language because for me, it's not just a okay, it's time, it's on a calendar, let's go. I need to feel like we're connected. I need to feel like you've talked to my love language, whatever that is, because that also changes. And it used to be like
Mm-hmm.
I used to be super heavy physical, and then like acts of service were my main ones. And then I had a kid, and I'm like, I'm touched out. Don't come at me. Even
Mm-hmm.
if it's like a cute massage, I'm already on so high alert
Yeah.
just because I've been needing to hold something or something sticky or like hands have been on me all day. You got to work up to it. You can't just go based on my old love language.
Yeah.
Now my love language is absolutely leaning more on the acts of service and the gifts. Like gifts just thinking of me and being like actually I know you've been craving Chinese food and I stopped on the way home and picked up Chinese food. Like that's a gift to me. That's food also a gift. Thank
Yeah.
you. I will
Yeah.
take it. So,
I
but
agree
that
with
to me is like, oh, you were thinking about me like on your way home, and you know what I enjoy and you know what I love. Awesome. Like now I feel the emotional connection. Let's sit down and enjoy dinner together. Let's play a video game. Let's like hang out and have date night. To me too, date nights can be at home. They can also be this like grand extravagant thing, but considering I'm like Sebastian's bedtime 7 o'clock, like and once he's down, either he needs to be down out and about and we can do that, like let's go somewhere and have him sleep in a stroller, that's fine. But I also think his love language has changed, so his has become more physical because he was used to mine being physical, and now it's switched and he's like, hey wait, you want to hold my hand?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no, I don't. I want to sit alone in a corner for an hour. So it's interesting over the years how I thought I was figuring this out. We thought we were having good communication and it was working, but something big. And I know Rachel, you even talked on the side about hormones. Like
Yeah.
that was a crazy huge shift, and how I didn't expect that to smack me upside the head as hard as it did. After becoming a mom, like I'm still battling it. And, what does postpartum even do to your intimacy when your brain is on fire already?
Yeah. No, hormones are for real. And, when you're used to a certain way of knowing yourself, and then all of a sudden there's just a total like shut down, shut off. And I'm like, this isn't me. This is me like talking like when I was turning 50. And I was just like,
Yeah.
who is this girl? I might live to 100. It's got to be better than this. I've got 50 more years ahead of me. I don't want to be without wanting the things that I used to love and adore and really brought me close to my husband, right? So I had to fight for what that was, and it cost money. And that's unfortunate because a lot of women out there cannot afford hormones, that should be like a thing that we are valued enough in the system to be able to get it covered. Anyways, that's me on my little side tangent. But it's really saved me for myself because to have no sex drive was crazy to me, and that's what I was experiencing. And I was like, how many, and all of a sudden you realize, well, it's been kind of like, I've been feeling this for 6 months, I've been feeling this for a year. So, and I'm in full on menopause now, so I didn't know that I was already, the last 10 years before that, I was already shifting in my 40s. It's just been great for me now that, like, people I follow on like TikTok and stuff are older women than me. Like, I need a big sister. I need a mama to tell me that I'm not losing my mind, I'm not crazy, and how they went and got help for themselves. So it came down to like, oh, and then you get the testosterone, you get the stuff you need, and you're like, oh, I'm back. Hello. I'm okay. I'm here again. I want to be vibrant as an 80-year-old. I want good things in later in life. I'm not going to get those things if I ignore my own health. And, this hormone talk isn't for just the older people, because you think like when you're about to, like, when you're ovulating, you're like ready to go. Like, God's designed our bodies to be like, let's make some babies, right? And so then you're like, oh, I got good 5-10 days in me, right? And then all of a sudden, then we become like, ooh, spacey, and that's not our fault. That is just what has happened with like the way God designed us, right? And so a lack of awareness with that can lead to disappointment, and I think it's nice for our husbands to kind of learn that kind of stuff and be like, so it's not just me, and this is the education that you can educate for yourself and then advocate for yourself to your spouse and be like, so this is what I've learned, and this hit like all the buttons for me. What do you think? And then he can have some interaction and be like, yeah, that is true, and it really brings those conversations, it makes it kind of okay, and that's what I'm talking about, communication,
That's funny because I just started kind of tracking again, just my
yeah,
cycle in order to make sure that I knew when I was going to be most productive. Oh, I should not plan anything that weekend. It's not going to be a good
yeah,
weekend because I already know I'm going to be terrible human being. It's not me.
yeah,
I just know my hormones will be off the charts. Not a good weekend. But this the next weekend, I'm gonna have be happy go lucky. This is gonna be great.
that's
Like,
true.
let me track this, and also make sure my husband understands like this is what's going on. I'm gonna do my darndest to still be 100% present, but I'm not planning on doing this like intense project or
Oh
these
yeah,
huge name the thing that is gonna take a lot of emotional or physical out of me. That's not the weekend.
smart.
But
Yeah, I like that.
yeah.
So, can you talk a little bit on your emotional intimacy versus physical intimacy?
It is a lot of communication. Like, if we just had like a ton of people at our house and it's upside down, I got stuff to do, unless this is going to be like, it's never quick, honestly. It's like, this is, and I'm tired after, you want to stay in the glow of the completion of the epic high, right? You want to feel that. You don't want to just get up and then have to do all the things that were on your list before, right? So I feel like we've become partners because he knows what I need, and then we can like get some things done together. Or if I'm needing to zone out and be a reset and he's doing the dishes, like, that is so satisfying to me. And that's still it, because like, he's very handsy too, and sometimes even him, I'm like, no, no, no. And it does remind me of having little kids. And I'm just like, I just need a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, just also to make sure I'm trying not to hurt his feelings, and he's trying not to hurt my feelings, that kind of stuff.
So, just thinking about like Bo's hormones, right? There will be times where like he's good, and then other times where he's just like silent. But I don't think I really take that into consideration. So I think I need to do better in that aspect, because I know when I voice something, he'll take it, right? Like I told him not too long ago, maybe last month. Like, we need a real date. Like, I need you to put some intention behind a date. We haven't had one in forever. We both had Saturday off. And he's like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go up to Jupiter. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's go. So we went to the beach, and that's my happy place. I love being at the beach and just hearing waves. Like, I love that. And then, I was over my time of the month, so I was feeling good, and I was like, oh, I can put a two-piece on. I'm ready. Like, yes, let's do it. So we get up there and just have a good time, just relaxing and just people watching. I'm like, okay, like, this is what I needed at that moment. And then, of course, like, yes, it made for an amazing, just relaxing night. That was a refresh that was very much needed. I need to take into when he's in his moods, like, okay, it's not him, it's the hormone situation. I'm gonna call it the hormone monster. It's his hormone monster going on right now. I think I need to be more aware and in tune in that aspect. Because, yeah, I'll say, like, oh, you good? But, sometimes men will just say, oh, yeah, 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 I'm great. Well,
God in mind, as God is supposed to be the center of our relationship and the center of our intimacy and the one who built us, and we know he built us how, exactly as we're supposed to be. How do you then find more about yourself without leaning on the bad side of internet or leaning into the devil's work? That, what is it that how do you find yourself? Yes.
I already knew. I'll just speak in general. A lot of people didn't know that they felt bad that their man was climaxing and they would never have that experience. That sucks. Then you don't get, if you don't get to climax, you don't get the full, like, the burst through your body. You don't get the tingles. You don't get the adrenaline rush. You don't get the energy for the next day. You don't feel completed, like you've loved yourself enough. Like, why do I not know myself, right? Yeah. So I only have one girlfriend I know about that climaxes with penetration. And I don't know all the details of just penetration. She, to me, is a unicorn. I was like, you're a miracle. I'm so happy for you. But I felt, I went through like a couple of years, maybe 5 years, like, how am I going to introduce that I actually need this? So we're not like completing, and then I have to go and like take care of myself, right? Because I want to do it with you, right? And he's always been so generous and wanting to make me feel as, he wanted to provide that for me, right? But for that to happen, I had to introduce something. And he could have shut it down, but he didn't. And I'll forever be grateful for that, because this was back in the 90s, right? Knowing yourself is helpful in that way. And that way you can express, like, these are some things that if you touch me here, you do this and that, he's not going to know that. I tell him, like, I like being touched here. I like when you did that right. Can you do that again and longer next time? And sometimes, even recently, we had like a teaching, and it didn't mean to be, but we're so okay with communication. I was like, wait, go and do that like this, and I'm going to show you where this is and how you're doing it right, but just, stay longer or do this. No, it was perfect, and so as our bodies change and our needs change too, I'm like, oh, I'm different here. How can I like learn myself again? Like, I just feel like if I'm not my number one fan, I'm just leaving the door open. I want to be my number one. I just want to be proud of who I am, who God made me to be. He wants us to have excellent sex. He designed us to be able to orgasm. He's so caring and giving, and he didn't have to do that. Have you ever thought about that? He did not have to do that. And he's like, you should be able to do that. Yeah. You should be able to enjoy that. And because you're going to fill this world with my people, you're going to teach them about me. Let's make it fun for you too. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? And that works pretty well, I think, for the takeaway, because our takeaway for today was sex is a thermometer for your marriage. If it's cold, you need to check your connection in all the other areas. Check yourself. You use your thermometer to make sure the whole body is working good. And connection with God too. It's something I didn't even think about. So I think good takeaway.
Perfect. Yes, you definitely have to be intentional. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Sometimes you have to just create the moment.
We've been talking a lot about the beauty of intimacy and the sacred bond of marriage. And there is honestly no greater physical testimony to the love that the life that you create together.
So it's true. And even though I haven't walked through pregnancy myself yet, I've seen it in so many women I love. Those early days fly by. You go from the glow of the first ultrasound to a first birthday candle in what feels like a heartbeat.
Yeah, it really does. And you don't want to look back and realize that those memories are only living in a buried cloud drive or your cell phone. You want to see God's faithfulness in your family hanging up on the walls and held in your hands.
That's why I love what you're doing with the Milestone membership, Dee. It's a year long faith filled journey designed to capture a baby's entire first year of life with actual intention.
Exactly. It's totally white glove experience. I'm talking about maternity session, quiet wonder of the newborn days, that gummy 6 month sitter stage, and then first birthday celebration.
What's so great is that it takes the stress off the parents. You get the priority scheduling, easily monthly payments, and at the end, you get the custom linen bound heirloom album to keep for a lifetime.
I only keep a few spots open each month to make sure every family gets that focused personal touch. And it's about more than just photos, about preserving a legacy.
If you're expecting or just welcomed a little one, go capture the story of the love you built. Visit dgarone.com to join the milestone membership. That's deegarone.com. Your
Your
family.
family, we can do it together.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, your family's story is worth preserving. So now let's get back to the show.
Know that great sex is so much more than just sex. So I don't know if you can bear witness. So for men, I think it's important to know that for women, or at least my woman, sex starts in the morning.
Yep.
With communication, with kindness, with chivalry, with humility,
whatever her love
with
language is.
encouragement, with motivation, with all of that. It's not like you ain't talked to your wife all day long and you've been mean, and then you put your little crusty feet over at the end of the night trying to get you some. That's probably not going to work too well for you, Bubba. You kind of got to get them engines revving all day long. So it's always like sowing seed, sowing seed, sowing
Right.
seed, sowing seed, sowing seed, creating this moment where intimacy is like the climax, so to say, of this relationship that we are developing and nurturing all the time.
So, of course, we had to share the TikTok because that's just a thing. When you stay up in the middle of the night just watching TikToks, of course, we're going to have to watch one. So that one just ties into basically everything we were talking about. I think I might need to do the whole thermometer thing, Rachel. I might need to double check my hormones and see like what's up. Maybe it's my turn to like figure myself and what's the baseline.
Maybe
You know, I should have sent you my TikTok. I had one that it's not exactly tied in. Like this was a perfect one, but it's similar idea that the husband would come home, like those like LED lights that you can change on the app.
I
You can
saw
like
that
change the
one.
colors to whatever you want. You saw, okay, so like the wife, he like had a paper printed out, like this is what my wife feels today. So he knew when he came home, like what he was walking into. And I swear that would be incredible. Like, let me put a sign on the door for you that says like, this is
Nice.
what's happened today. Let me catch you up because I don't think you understand. You may be fine. And in reality, it's not just hormone monster, but a screaming child. Work was insane. The fridge blew up. Like you name the thing, and I had to deal with this today. And you're coming home, and I might have texted you, I might have said stuff, but you don't actually know where my thermometer is, and I may be as cold as ice, and you're ready to fire, and I'm going, you better turn your butt around and buy me flowers and chocolates because that's to the level of today. And like I wish I could do a warning like that. Let me get some lights on the house to just say, here, I'm ready. Like green light, come on in. I had a great day. I love you. Come be physical versus no, I need an ice pack and a quiet space. And then maybe I'll be okay and we can talk. And just goes back to Rachel saying like we need to communicate. Well, how do I communicate when I'm on fire? And I haven't had a chance to communicate with you. I'm just going back to, what I'm living in now and still technically in postpartum and being like, I don't know how to explain to you that I'm so far gone with whatever happened today. And you're coming at me with trying to be nice. You're like giving me a massage and I'm like, get off of me. How do I explain that? How do I communicate that to you when we're on vastly different pages? I'm still figuring myself out and figuring out my hormones and figuring out what it is that my new love language is and what it is that's triggered me and how to avoid those triggers for the future.
Too, just
Yeah.
and it starts kind of small. If the lights work for you, then use some lights. Like you can order some on Amazon. Try it out. You're a planner, so I would forget about it because my brain is like, he'd walk in like an hour and it was set to yesterday's color. Like I'm not that girl anymore. So if whatever you find that works for you, try it. And maybe it's only $20 that you spent. If it works, yeah. If it doesn't, that's fine. But I have found that taking a step back and, taking time to be like, talk about how I was yesterday. And you can express like, it's not your fault. And it's also not my fault. You can give yourself some grace, and you can have more peace about when you do have to communicate. Is the avoidance it gets where I don't want you sitting and asking what's wrong. I don't even, but maybe in 2 days I will know. Maybe I could about it. Maybe God inside He'll allow me to see what do that if you give Him a chance, and you just take it to God and say, okay, I know you've seen this. You've seen us in our best. You've seen us in our worst. Help us. And God can talk to Him, and His Spirit can rest on Him too. And He can come up with some ideas. And so we're not carrying it all. This is sometimes a God problem. And so receiving it, like we have to solve all the problems in our house. God's the head of the house. Okay, God, this is on you. Like, give me the words, hold my tongue. Oh, it's gone. And I have to be like, oh, I think the Holy Spirit is holding my tongue. And really, it's probably saved our marriage. I'm thinking of, yeah. And respect to the Almighty, because He's us and we're not by ourselves. He's seen us, our children. He's seen us through sickness. He's seen us through grief. He's seen us at our weddings and our joy. Me against Lewis. It's us with God working on how to make it better. Yeah.
Rachel, thank you for keeping it so real with us today.
It's important stuff. And
much appreciated.
I'm happy to glow in you girls. You just look so beautiful. And that's what it's about.
All right.
And as God sees us, as He's made us so beautiful. And for us to ignore,
we really appreciate it. Yeah. Much love. So next week, we're wrapping up the series with an episode we had to record alone because it's a bit risky. It's Unsolicited Opinions, the in-law edition.
Yeah, we're talking about setting boundaries with grace and what to do with help and when it feels kind of like control. We will see you on the next avenue.
Yes, make sure you follow us on all the socials at Different by Avenue.
Bye, y'all.
Another day, another walk, keeping faith in the stride. No matter where the avenue goes, He's the one to always provide. From the dirt to the grace, you gotta keep the faith. Trust the Spirit and the truth. Because God will never lose. See you next time. We gotta wear you. Different by Avenue.